Hello, hello, and welcome back to our Finding Better podcast. My name is John Suzuki, and I am your host. And this is where we share real life experiences and wisdom of things where we found better by having been there and done that. And so the idea is perhaps you can learn from the things that we've gone through and apply those lessons to your own life. Today, I am thrilled. I'm so happy that we have Barby Ingle with us. We're going to talk about pain. And there's just so much pain in the world. So Barbie, welcome to Finding Better. Thank you
Thank
for
you so
coming.
much. I'm so glad to be here, John. I think this is going to be an exciting episode, and I look forward to sharing with you and with your audience. I do have an interesting story of finding better, and can go in multiple different directions. So
Yep, yep.
let's
Well,
see where it goes.
let me just kind of set the stage here with who you
Yes.
are.
Okay.
So Barbie is a best-selling author, and she's also a TV personality. She's a chronic pain educator, and she's a patient advocate who is the immediate past president of, get this, the International Pain Foundation. So she knows a lot about pain.
I do.
She's also the print editor for iPain magazine. And by the way, folks, I'm gonna be on the cover of an
Yay!
upcoming edition, and I'm thrilled. We talked about my book. Anyway, we'll talk about that stuff later. You can go pick it up. She lives with reflex sympathetic dystrophy, microlepsy, endometriosis, and other rare diseases. And so we're going to talk to her about that. And she presents healthcare from the patient's perspective. She speaks publicly on all this stuff, and she shares her story and educates and advocates for patients across the globe. Barbie, I am so happy you're here with us. I know that we all can learn so much from you.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here with you, John. And I got to interview you last time, so we're reversing the tables, and I look forward to talking about healthcare and diving in.
Oh
And
yeah, I'm
actually,
going to be much tougher on you than you were on me for sure.
uh-oh. I can take it. I can take it.
No, but listen, we're talking about finding better individualized healthcare,
Yes.
and you're taking it from the perspective of your experience and what you've gone through. So share a little bit about who you are and what's going on.
Well, I have had to find better healthcare, and now I teach other people how to find better healthcare because first I was diagnosed with endometriosis, but that was a process. And I got it at 26 years old, and all of a sudden I was having female issues,
Mhm.
periods. They were lasting, a few days, but almost a full month, over and over and over and over again.
Wow.
And it came with excruciating pain in the abdomen. And
Oh boy.
I started going to medical providers and trying to figure out what was wrong. And soon ended up having two laparoscopies where they went in through my belly button to cauterize some of the endometriosis. I went through a lot of challenges. And in that 3-year period, I got a diagnosis pretty quick, but it took a while to try all the different treatments and medications and surgeries, and finally ended up with a full hysterectomy. And I felt like I conquered the world. I had succeeded in healthcare. My first real experience was something bad in healthcare, but I conquered it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I started going on with life. That was 2000. In
Okay.
2000, I had the end of 1999, beginning of 2000, had that hysterectomy and a oophorectomy, and said, here we go. And a couple of years later, 2002, I was in a minor car accident, and those 8 seconds changed my life because it triggered a rare autoimmune disease in my body, as you said, reflex sympathetic dystrophy. And what is that? Reflex is anything in your body that's automatic, goes haywire. So imagine swallowing, your stomach pumping food through, your heart beating, your eyes being able to cry actual tears. All of those things went haywire. And
Wait,
then,
wait, 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 wait,
yeah,
wait. And this was sorry.
yeah,
This was all triggered by a minor car accident. What
yes.
was your car accident? What happened?
I was sitting in my car, and a 16-passenger van. I was sitting still in a parking lot, and a van started pulling out, and it never saw me. And by the time it hit, it was just backing out. And by the time it hit me, I had twisted and had my hand on the horn, and I sit real close to the steering wheel, grabbed the passenger seat and twisted, and I was looking backwards, and they ran right into me, and they stopped after they hit me.
Okay,
And
so
it was minor.
this person was backing up.
Yes. And
And
they
so
said,
this wasn't a 30, 40, 60 mile an hour crash. This
no, it was
was,
about 20 miles an hour, according to the guy that hit me.
oh, he was backing up pretty quick though.
He was. He was in a hurry. He was
Oh,
late.
whoa.
He was
Okay.
on his way to teach a class on how to drive. Right? The irony. The irony. And he had to go and
okay.
tell his class, I just hit somebody on the way here. So yeah.
Okay. So sorry for the interruption, but
That's okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
within
that
the 8 seconds it took for him to back up across the parking lot and hit me, but what I was found later, a few hours later, I was wandering around in the building. I was the head coach at Washington State University. Apparently I hit my head on the seat rest or something, or just jarred at my head really bad in the hit, and my body absorbed it instead of my vehicle. And
oh no.
so I got a concussion, or TBI, traumatic brain injury, through
Okay,
that.
right.
And then they told me I also had whiplash. Well, somebody found me that knew me and said, "What's wrong?" And I was just standing there crying. And I said, "I can't find the gym." And I was 5 feet from the gym.
Oh my gosh.
And
Oh
they were like,
no.
"Something's wrong." And said, "We're going to take you to the hospital." Called my husband, and he met me at the hospital. And they said, "You have whiplash and you're going to be okay in 3 or 4 days." And went home and went to bed. And 3 or 4 days later, I wasn't okay, and I started an odyssey. It took 43 providers to get a proper diagnosis. 43 providers
Oh my gosh.
to get a proper diagnosis. I've seen over 100 providers now. This was, again, 2002. So, but I knew that what was wrong with me was not what they thought it was. I just didn't know what was wrong with me. And I knew to keep searching. I knew to keep looking, or it was instinct. I wouldn't give up my life. I wouldn't give up my business and my coaching and my marriage and my house and my ability to drive, that all cascaded and were taken away as I was going through this process and trying to figure out what was wrong.
Okay.
So,
Okay. My goodness. And
yeah,
it was all triggered by a car accident.
it was all triggered by the car
So this
accident.
can happen to anybody. This can, I mean, it can
Yeah.
literally, I mean, it wasn't a hereditary thing. It was just,
Actually, it's already in my blood, similar to Lyme disease. Think of like a tick bite, and
okay.
you have all these symptoms that happen. It was already in my blood, but it takes an accident or injury or perceived trauma to engage it. So,
Ooh,
yeah.
that's
So
scary.
my brother, one of my brothers, I have a couple, has the same disease. His was triggered by, he was roller skating and fell and broke his wrist, and it triggered it in him. So
So
it's in us, but it's got to be triggered by something, an injury. I know people that stepped on a rock and the rock hit their nerve in their foot in a certain way. Their body sends chemicals in, our bodies send chemicals in for all humans to fix something. And it's, instead of saying it's fixed and the new chemicals coming to take away the healing chemicals so that you go on with life, those second chemical sets never get triggered to go in.
Oh no.
And then it continues to attack different areas of our bodies.
Oh my gosh. So
In three ways.
in
It
three
attacks in
ways.
3 ways. One is our reflexes. The second one is our nervous system, makes you feel like somebody put lighter fluid in you and caught you on fire. For some people with the disease, it's regional, and it'll just be in their hand or just be in their foot, and it'll stay there for their whole life.
And
In other people, it goes body wide,
feeling like it's on fire.
feeling like you're on fire, like your blood in your veins is on fire, and it's just pulsating through you. So I have full body involvement. Some people have one area, one pinky, or their foot, or
Yeah.
their arm, their face. Have you heard of oh goodness, trigeminal neuralgia
No.
is a similar type of pain, but that's when it's only in your face. So your trigeminal joints and your facial nerves.
Oh my gosh. So are you living with this right now?
I am, but I found treatment. I found better.
You found better.
It
And
was a process. It was a
yeah,
process.
well, you said 43, you went through
43
43
providers.
providers.
Yep, 43 providers, 3 years to get a diagnosis, another 4 years to get a treatment. And during that time, I was bedbound and wheelchair bound
Oh, and in pain.
and in pain,
In
severe
med
burning fire pain. And
Oh
on
my
top of
gosh.
the fire pains 24 hours a day, and then other pains come in like lightning pains. It feels like lightning hits me. It can hit anywhere in my body, and I don't know when it's going to hit. So sometimes I just randomly jump because I got hit with a bolt of lightning. Sometimes it feels like waves of pain. Sometimes it feels like a jackhammer on my back.
So
Sometimes
you're still going through this.
I
It
still am
still
facing
happens.
this, but I have found treatment. In 2009, I underwent infusion therapy at Drexel University in Pennsylvania and found something that helped. And I went in a wheelchair, and 7 days later, I was able to walk out.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
Oh my gosh. But it took all those providers to get to that
it
moment.
did. And that's what happens with rare diseases. 1 in 10 people live with a rare disease, and there's over 7,000 rare diseases. So
1 in 10 people.
1 in 10 people has a rare disease. It could be genetic. It could be like 4q deletion syndrome, where the 4q gene is missing out of the human, or it could be something like endometriosis is considered a rare disease, and that's only in women. And it's when your uterus grows outside of the uterus, the lining of the uterus grows outside of your uterus, so it starts adhesing to other organs and parts and pieces and stomach wall and that type of thing. So it's a wide variety of diseases, and most doctors I found through my process, and this will be helpful for your listeners, most people don't understand that providers get to go to medical school and study specific diseases. So if they're a neurologist, they might study muscular dystrophy or multiple sclerosis or arachnoiditis. They might study a particular disease and get a lot of information about that disease, but they only get tidbits of information about other neurological diseases.
And
So
how many you said that there were thousands of different
7,000, more than 7,000 rare diseases, 7,000 that we know of for sure.
and what you're saying is that doctors, when they go to school, are learning about one, maybe two of them.
Correct. They study really hard about a few of them. Um,
Okay.
and then they go, oh, this is musculoskeletal. You need to go to an osteopath, or this is in your feet. You need to go to a podiatrist. And that's why we have these specialists in America. Other countries will do their healthcare differently. And you can go to one doctor and they know a lot more about a lot more diseases, but rare diseases worldwide have the least treatments, the least things to offer, and cause the most problems, because we're constantly chasing the symptoms instead of looking at how do we cure this disease.
Oh my gosh. So let's talk about individualized healthcare.
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. I'm stunned.
So that is how
I'm so sorry.
that's okay. That's how I got to finding better healthcare, was because of the horrible experience. I was overtreated, undertreated, and mistreated because providers were missing the signs or misinterpreting the signs. And
Yeah.
so I had to find a way to get organized. I started ordering my medical records after each doctor visit. I would order my records and actually read them. And I would see the mistakes in the healthcare records of I went in for my fingers turning purple, and they had something about my left foot. And
Oh,
I was like, what, like, why did the doctor not even address the thing that I was there for in the records? So I had to learn how to correct my medical records, as well as the reason why it took 43 providers to get a diagnosis, a proper diagnosis. I got a lot of diagnoses that were wrong, including one where I had my rib removed, and that was a whole nother situation.
Oh
Yes.
no.
So finally, the 43rd doctor said, before I see you, I want all of the other doctors' medical records sent to my office. And at that time, it was three-inch binders of medical records. So 9 inches of medical records.
And
That
were these the corrected records that, right? I mean,
no,
or
not
these were
yet. I
not
learned that
yet.
after. So he read all my records, and his nurse called back and said, the provider can see you now. And I set up my appointment and I went in, and he said, look, I think I know what you have, but we need to do testing to find out for sure. And it's a rare disease. And I said, well, this is the first time I stood up for myself, and other people need to do this to find the best healthcare for them. I want to go home and research it myself. Research is so important. And I went home and I studied it, researched it, started asking questions. And a week later, I felt comfortable, and I went back in for the test, which for this disease, the test is putting you to sleep and giving you what's called a nerve block. And so they did a surgical procedure through the front of my neck into a nerve bundle in the back of my neck near my spine. And I was able for the first time to straighten my arm, raise it above my head, and had a couple of hours of relief, which was the way that they diagnosed it. Now they can use thermograms, which are non-invasive, and it's a lot easier of a process. But back then, in the early 2000s, it wasn't so easy. So I had to go through this. But researching for myself and becoming my own best advocate was huge. And that's when I started realizing the records from all the different providers, they were looking at individual specific parts of my body that they felt most comfortable looking at, instead of looking at me and what would be right
Oh,
for me. They were basing it on what their expertise was and looking at that specific area and saying, oh, well, her lungs aren't working right. Her vascular constriction is an issue. And instead of piecing that all together like this 43rd doctor did, they
they were
looked at
just
me individually. Not individual healthcare. They gave me individual body parts.
it reminds me of the story about or the idea of a person feeling a trunk of an elephant and going, this must be a snake.
Yes,
And feeling the leg of the elephant and going, this must be a tree. And feeling right, and
yes,
feeling the body of the
that's
elephant and going, this must be a mountain. And oh my gosh, oh
that's
my gosh.
exactly. Doctors are actually taught, if it sounds like a horse and it looks like a horse, put it in with the horses. Well, I'm a zebra. I'm not a horse. Check my stripes.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well
they go,
said.
it's like they're blindly looking. I love your elephant analogy. It's like
Yeah.
they're blindly looking at, oh, all these symptoms that I know about fit here. So I'm just going to stick her in that pen. And
Oh my gosh.
that's how I got overtreated, undertreated, and mistreated.
Yeah. You explain it that way, and you can certainly understand. And the thing about it, and I don't know if this is where you were, but where I am, right? I mean, first of all, guys in general, I don't know this, but every guy I know doesn't want to go to a doctor. I mean, we don't ask for directions, and we don't go to doctors. But when you
Mhm.
go to doctors, we're like, oh yeah, they're doctors. They know what they're doing. They went to medical school and they're doctors, right? I mean,
Yep.
we leave doctors in such high esteem, and deserve it,
Deserved. They earned
right?
it. They got the
Yeah,
education.
yeah.
They put their time in.
But
But
there's that little but
but
that
they
you just need.
specialize. They
Wow.
only know so much. If you can find a provider that will go on the journey with you. I had lost everything in my life, like I said. And I was at the same time as all this healthcare challenges were going on, I was also piecing my life back together. And part of that was my husband, Ken. I met him when I moved to Arizona. I asked the doctors in Washington, what should I do? And they said, we don't know. I said, well, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go? And they said, we would go to Arizona. And I feel like it was God actually guiding me. And Ken was my husband, Ken, we're Ken and Barbie.
Yeah.
And my husband, Ken, was my new neighbor. And I needed severe help. And we didn't get together and thinking we're going to, make a marriage out of this. He was my neighbor, and I said, I need help. I'm not allowed to drive. Can I hire you to drive me to physical therapy and doctor appointments and surgeries and all of the things going on in my life? So we discovered this together.
Oh,
and
my goodness.
found our way through together. And so he was learning how to be a caregiver as I was learning how to be a informed patient, and also learning about the healthcare system. I don't think it's just men. I think it's all of us.
Oh, no. I'm a dude, right? I was just using us as an example, but everybody, I mean, I can't say everybody, but certainly a whole lot of people out there, they'll just follow what the doctor says, right?
Yeah. And doctors have the education training, and I'm experiencing something new. So fix me.
Yeah, exactly. And so, so becoming your own advocate, being your own advocate, and learning and getting yourself educated, that's huge. And I certainly haven't experienced the kinds of thing that you experienced, but I have experienced situations where I was misdiagnosed, and my daughter, she has kind of taken the banner of and we kind of told her she had to, of being our health advocate, as we grow older and so forth. And so what you're saying is certainly ringing true to me.
Yeah. I mean,
So how,
the next thing to do is research.
yeah.
Once I had the right diagnosis, it was a lot easier to research, especially with something rare. If you have the genetic testing or the pharmacogenomics testing or whatever it is, and you know more about yourself, you can advocate for yourself better. But researching what is available, what others have done, learning their stories, talking to other patients that have this diagnosis and saying, what did you do? Now, keep in mind, just because they did it and it helped them doesn't mean it will help you.
Right.
So don't get discouraged. If the same thing, like for instance, lidocaine helps millions of people. Lidocaine does nothing for me. My body metabolizes it too fast.
Oh.
And same thing with ibuprofen. If I have a headache, like people get a headache and they take a couple of ibuprofen,
right,
that doesn't work for me. And my husband used to say, take a couple more. And then I got pharmacogenomics testing. It told me my body, for me individually, I'm not going to get anything. Even if I took the whole bottle of ibuprofen, it's not going to help me. And it would probably hurt me.
And it'd probably kill you if you did. Yeah.
So don't do that. But knowing that ibuprofen doesn't help me and seeing it on paper with proof and evidence, the research of what's right for me.
Right.
Now I can use that. My caregiver, my husband can use that. My doctors can use that. And if I have a new doctor in an emergency situation, I have that pharmacogenomics data that says these are the things that work on me and these are the things that don't work on me. So we're not having adverse drug reactions and other complications that I went through.
So what is pharmacogenetic? Pharmacogenetics?
Genetics or genomics.
Genomics.
Yes, genomics is like individualized for the human, and genetics is like the world population, like taking all the data of all the people and saying, where do we see the common similarities?
So what exactly is that test, and what does that test do?
It's an easy test. It's a cheek swab. Your primary care doctor can get you this test, and they cheek swab you. They mail it into a lab. And it tests every FDA, depending on how the provider orders it. I got a full genomics test where they tested every FDA approved medication against my particular DNA. And it tells the doctor what is right for me on all the different categories. And I actually have a book that I printed out that has the information as of the date of my test. But inside the portal for my medical providers, they can log in, and any new FDA medications that come online are updated against my DNA. and put into my profile.
Oh,
So for the
wow.
rest of my life, I have this data that I will have with me. And if I am in an emergency situation, I have it on a flash drive. I also have a print book if I'm prepared to go into a medical situation where I can
Wow.
discuss medications for me individually versus what do you give all the horses
Yeah,
instead of
yeah,
what do you
yeah,
give the
yeah,
zebra.
yeah. Or even what do you give all the zebras,
Or what
right?
do you
I
give
mean,
the zebras?
yeah,
Right.
and but because you are, I mean, every zebra is an individual zebra, right?
Right. They all
And
have their
so
own stripes and needs
yeah,
and
exactly.
get
Exactly.
hungry at different times and all of the things. So looking at the zebras and saying, okay, what does this zebra need? That's what
Right.
we need in
Right.
healthcare. Healthcare is working as designed very poorly, but we can't
Yeah.
just throw out our healthcare system.
Right.
We have to have functioning healthcare as best we can until we can implement a whole new design all in
Yeah.
one shot. But that is going to take years and knowledge and research to get to. So in the meantime,
Certainly.
what do we do to help ourselves? What do we do to find better healthcare?
Yeah, yeah. And in the meantime, that's what we do, right?
Yeah,
We make it right by ourselves making it right for ourselves.
exactly. Right. So
And
create your oasis, get the things around you, the tools, resources, information around you in your life, and don't get stuck on your oasis. Make yourself a little boat to get off and look and say, hey, there's new things coming down the pipeline. There's new
yeah,
research.
yeah,
There's new options. What's available? And have those conversations with your medical professionals so that you, and sometimes you're bringing them new information. Sometimes they're
right.
bringing you new information, but you're the one who has to live with whatever you do every single day.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's right.
make sure that you research and don't just rely on the doctor to say, hey, there's this new thing. It's great. Everybody's having success with it. We're not everybody. We're somebody.
Yeah, exactly. My gosh, I am almost speechless, and this doesn't happen to me very often. Um, well, so oh my God, the good news is that with the advancements of technology and Chat GPT and our artificial intelligence, I mean, now the tools are better than ever and going to continue to get better and stronger than ever of being able to analyze the world's data, right? And one of the things I encourage people to do, Barbie, is learn AI, right?
Yes,
This is the first time that the absolute most advanced technology that has ever been created can literally be used by a 5-year-old.
yep,
And it doesn't require an advanced degree. And it's just a matter of structuring questions and statements and learning how to do this. And I can imagine how the AI can be a tremendous tool for folks that are trying to learn and understand what the heck is going on.
absolutely. Especially with rare diseases. If
Yeah,
we get the world's data, all of the data, so don't leave something out because you think it's not important.
right,
Let the AI code and sort and figure out what's going on and look at it as a global system
right.
to figure out, oh, well, wait a second, this could be this rare disease that has a potential treatment, or it can see data that we don't necessarily see, that we have mind
Absolutely.
blocks up. So to say
Absolutely.
this medicine only helps hearts, and yet it actually can help the whole vascular system. AI can see some of those patterns existing. Even the treatment that helped me walk again, ketamine infusions, and there's two kinds of ketamine. There's S-ketamine and R-ketamine. So S-ketamine helps with mental health challenges. R-ketamine helps with growing the glia and working on the glia system and kind of think of it as rebooting your brain as if your brain and spine are a computer. And
Whoa.
so R-ketamine has an isomer. It's an isomer with a right hook versus a left hook. And so one type of ketamine helps one thing, one type of ketamine helps another thing. But knowing that and understanding that, computers can do that a lot faster and
Oh
say,
yeah. Yeah,
somebody
for
got in a
sure.
car accident in another country, in Germany, and they put
That's right.
she had the same disease I have, and nothing was helping her. and they put her into a coma because of her car accident injuries. She had the disease before the car accident. They put her into a coma, and part of that coma was giving her AR ketamine, and for a month she was in a coma. And when they brought her back, as her injuries healed, they brought her back and woke her up, and all of a sudden the burning fire pain was gone, the dystonia was improved. So they found it by accident
Oh,
that
wow.
this treatment could help people with our rare disease. Now imagine putting that data into a
Yep.
system that
Yep.
can
That's right.
analyze, oh, this person reported the same thing, and that person in this other country reported the same thing.
That's right. That's right.
It comes together, and they see,
Yeah.
the doctor who brought this treatment to the United States for my rare disease saw it ketamine being used in Australia in the outback when they would go into remote villages, and
Whoa. Seriously.
saw it working there on other conditions, and brought it back to the United States for our rare disease. But ketamine was created by our military, working with a pharmaceutical company so that they could give surgery to our wounded vets on the battlefield in war in the 1960s. And
Wow.
so instead of giving them propofol or other anesthetics, they created ketamine as the anesthetic to put them to sleep so that they could give them surgery quicker. Ketamine is the only anesthetic. It's the safest anesthetic. It's the only one that doesn't suppress breathing.
Wow. Wow.
So it's safe for them to use, and they could do it on the battlefield, hook them right up and start the surgery or resetting the bones or whatever they needed to do immediately as they're evacuating them out of the danger zone of
And
war.
from that experience, somehow
Yep.
it found its way to the outback of Australia,
Yes.
and somehow it was administered in a
Yep.
way that nobody had expected it to benefit.
Right.
And all of a sudden, somehow the word got out to Germany.
Yep. And
But
Germany started using it. They put the person in a coma,
yeah,
and she wakes up and she's got no pain. The
and
problem
imagine,
is it's still, our bodies still have the disease. It's not a cure, it's only a treatment.
yeah, yeah,
So we have to do what they call boosters. So I go
right,
through a series of boosters each year so that
okay,
so that I stay doing well. But
wow.
that's what they found going through the outback. I mean, can you
Yeah. But
imagine?
imagine how long that took. Imagine
Oh,
how long it
years.
took to get from the battlefield to the outback to Germany to you, right?
Yes.
And imagine how fast that information can go globally today. I mean,
With AI.
instantaneously, right?
Yes.
And so folks, being your own advocate, I will tell you, you now have greater tools, more powerful tools than you've ever had in AI, and learn it. It's simple, it's easy. And the best way to learn it is to use it. Don't think that you have to go to school. Don't think that you have to study YouTube videos. Just
Right.
get on it and
Yep.
play with it. And the more you use it, the better you're going to get at it. And my goodness, Barbie, I mean, you and I could have continue talking about this stuff forever. And I am so sorry that you've had that experience in your life. And but thank goodness that you were able to find a way to live
Better.
semi-normally. I mean, with
Yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. You know what
I
I'm saying.
do. I
I
do.
don't know.
And
Yeah.
other people, when people see me and they hear my story, and there's millions of stories like mine around the world, not exactly like mine. Everybody has
Yeah.
their own story, but there's millions of stories around the world. Share, talk, learn. And once you go through something so challenging and you overcome it, that's the best time to share so that other people have an easier time. Just like with AI, if we keep sharing and keep creating data points, we will better
Yeah. Yeah.
the humanity, society, Earth as a people.
We'll make the world better. We'll make the world
Absolutely.
better. And my goodness, I think about the interview that you and I had, and we talked about different kinds of pain, right? We talked
Did.
about the pain of loss, the pain of loneliness, the pain of mental anguish, those kinds of things that happened in the experience of the book that I wrote called American Grit. But boy, oh boy, I can thank you, and thank you for doing what you're doing in terms of being an advocate, and you're getting involved with the state legislature,
I
right?
am.
You're
I am a
running for
candidate.
office.
I am
Yeah,
candidate for state representative here in Arizona. And again, it's a full new experience for me, but at the same time, becoming a health advocate and becoming a health legislative advocate for 15 years as a legislative advocate, I know the system. I know what to do. I'm going in with knowledge
and
because
experience, a huge experience. Yeah,
huge
yeah, for sure.
experience.
Yeah,
And so, and I can take what I've done for healthcare and apply it to other fields and other areas.
that's
And I'm
amazing.
so looking forward to doing that. But the thing that I've loved the most is connecting with other humans, knocking doors and talking to them and hearing their stories and saying, what are you going through? What are your pain points in life? What can you see as a tool to improve our community? What would you like me to do? And finding out and having those conversations. It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's and thank you. God bless you for what you're doing. This episode is the first episode that I'm going to mark as must watch.
Oh wow.
And
I'm honored.
not that that means anything. I mean, who's going to listen to me? But anyway, I'm gonna. I mean, what an amazing experience and story to share with everybody. And my goodness, thank you for helping us learn. And
You're
because
welcome.
there's somebody out there listening to this podcast that's going to be affected. And awareness is the biggest part of the challenge.
It is. And
So
I think a lot of people listen to you. When I heard your story, I said this is going to really resonate with our readers. And I look forward to sharing you and your story in the next edition of I Pain Living magazine as the cover story. And I was excited to work with you. Like I said, I had looked you up, finding out that I was going to be meeting you. I looked you up and went, oh, he would be perfect for our cover. And you're thinking, how do I fit into this pain world? And I was like, there's a total fit. So I do hope that people do check out I Pain Living magazine, as well as your other. I know I'm a must watch, but I think that the rest of your podcast is a much must watch, and that you're doing a great job. As a matter of fact,
thank you.
everybody watching right now, give the highest rating you can give on whatever platform you're watching on. Give the highest rating and drop a comment in so John knows how he's helping you find better.
Yes, thank you for that, because
You're welcome.
we do relish and appreciate feedback, in terms of helping us help guiding us in terms of what we're going to do in the future. Barbie, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for sharing your story, because not only is it just a shocker of a story and an experience, but you've also given us ideas based on your experience on what we can do for ourselves. And that is just amazing, amazing. I would love to have you back sometime. And
Anytime. Anytime.
I will send out the invitation to you, and you can always say no, but I would love to have you back.
I
So
absolutely will come
folks,
back.
yeah, wonderful. iPain, I just blew. It's not iPain magazine. This iPain
I Pain Living magazine.
iPain Living magazine. That's it right there. That's it right there. Check it out, folks. The best person who's going to take care of you is you. So with that, God bless you. I love you. Thank you for joining us, Barbie. I love you. Thank you so much.
Love you too. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.